ESPN draft expert Field Yates, he recently put out a 2-round mock draft, and I think it is absolutely ridiculous. So for this video, I'm going to go through what the mock draft was for the New Orleans Saints and all of the selections that he had New Orleans picking, just so you guys know. He has the Saints trading back into the second round. We'll have to see who he takes. But really quick, I already kind of expressed some of my thoughts here on social media. So if you want to get my thoughts, my opinions, and my Saints coverage before it gets to YouTube, hit your boy up on social media. I also post a lot more on social media just because it's so much easier to post on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok than it is to YouTube. And plus, your boy's going to be out of town this weekend, so I'm going to be posting a lot of thoughts and a lot of content. Hit me up on social media. The links to all my profiles are in the comments and description of this video. And also, if you hit me up, shoot me a DM. I love to chop it up. Now, let's start off first by kind of adding some context here. What the first 8 picks looked like for Field Yates mock draft in round 1. No surprises here. Shedeur Sanders does go at 3, Travis Hunter at 4. And then whenever you get to the next 4 picks, Ashton Jeanty at 6. That's a really popular selection there. Jalen Walker, the linebacker / edge rusher out of Georgia, is headed to Carolina, so that means the Saints are going to definitely have to deal with that for the next handful of years. However, Carolina, Tampa Bay, Falcons, all of y'all just got some great news because Field Yates had the Saints mocked Shamar Stewart. This is a terrible pick. Like I can't even say with a straight face. This is awful. I hate this pick. I absolutely hate this selection so much. My initial reaction is exactly that. I hate it. I think it's a terrible selection. I think the Saints have way bigger needs than the 3rd or 4th best defensive lineman in this draft class. I think that wide receiver is a bigger need. I could argue that running back. I could argue cornerback. Offensive line, all of those are bigger needs than Shamar Stewart. And look, I don't even think Shamar Stewart was the best available edge. I mean, Mike Green was on the board. And in case you didn't know, Mike Green got taken by the Falcons. And that's a really good pick by the Falcons. He's a very productive player. The difference between Mike Green and Shamar Stewart is production versus potential. And I am so damn tired of drafting players based on potential rather than drafting guys that we know can do it. Now, here's what Field Yates said. Going to let him defend himself here. I've said this about Stewart throughout the pre-draft process. The GM who uses a high pick on him will need a lot of cash it. Stewart is a risky pick with exactly 1.5 sacks in each of his 3 collegiate seasons. Mickey Loomis fits that general manager bill perfectly, and the Saints haven't been afraid of taking toolsy pass rushers in the first round in the past, including Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport. Yep, that's what we're doing. We're already comparing him to Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport. That should tell you all you need to know. I absolutely do not like this. You continue to say this would be the ultimate pick given Stewart's upside at the position. I don't care about upside. I have way too much PTSD from drafting Marcus Davenport over a guy like Lamar Jackson or another skill position player or just another player in general. I have way too much PTSD from drafting Peyton Turner, who's not even on the Saints roster anymore. I don't want to draft a toolsy, potentially good, athletic freak at the edge rusher position. We've done this twice, and it has not worked. Why do we have to do 3 strikes and then you're out? Why can't we just say, you know what? 2 for 2 was not a good pick. We ain't doing it again. Again, Shamar Stewart wasn't even the best edge rusher available at this pick. I can't fathom it. And honestly, I just got to say this to you, Field. Shame on you. Shame on you for considering yourself a draft expert. This pick is absolutely terrible. The Saints will not do this, and it should be a punishable offense. To be totally honest, this should be 10 years in prison. It should be never allowed to do another mock draft. It should be like some ridiculous stuff. It's just such a bad pick. At number 9 overall, are you kidding me? And of course, the Saints are dumb enough to do it, but no, absolutely not. I hate that selection. I would never mock that at that selection. Number 9 overall feels way too early. I hate that pick, and I hate the fact that the Saints went with specifically Shamar Stewart. If it's an edge rusher, fine. It better be the best one available, though. Not like the 3rd or 4th or 5th best option. So I want to ask you this question, though. What position should the Saints target in round 1? I mean, you can make an argument for edge rusher. Like, I wanted on the record, it's not that I hate the fact that he picked an edge rusher. I hate the fact that he picked Shamar Stewart. He's just not good. 1.5 sacks over each of the last 3 seasons is terrible versus a player in Mike Green who has double-digit sacks last year. Like, come on. That's so stupid. Or you go wide receiver, quarterback. running back, offensive lineman, whatever. I don't care what you want. Just let me know if you're the general manager. What are you doing? Now, coming up, the Saints did make multiple selections in round 2. I told you that at the beginning of the show. Saints actually traded back into round 2 after they made their first selection. So we're going to tell you what that pick is here in just 1 second. But on draft day, the picks made by the Saints will be rocking these hats right here. They are so clean. I love the little City Edition pins that they got on all these hats. I think these are the best draft hats the Saints in general, but the NFL has had over the last handful of years. This one is so clean. I already ordered mine, and I use this link, chatsports.com/SaintsDraft. If you want one as well, the link is in the comments and description of this video. They got snapbacks, they got fitted caps, they got the ball caps, and everything else you would want. So click that link in the comments and description, get swagged out, and wear the same gear that the future Saints players will be rocking as well. Alrighty, in round 2, pick 40, I'll give Field Yates a little bit of leeway here. I like this selection. Actually, I like it a lot. Jayden Higgins, the wide receiver out of Iowa State. I think he fits exactly what the New Orleans Saints are missing. And to be totally honest, I think that my initial reaction on this is I like it a lot. He's only 22 years old, 6'4", 216 pounds. I think that exactly is what the New Orleans Saints are missing in terms of a player on the wide receiver group. And honestly, I think that this could really open up a lot of things for the New Orleans Saints offense, and Kellen Moore could get very creative, and this could be a great compliment to Chris Olave. And with Jayden Higgins, 87 catches on 129 targets, over 1,100 yards, almost 1,200, over 13.5 yards per catch, 2 drops on 87 receptions is really impressive, and 9 touchdowns. He found the end zone 9 times. So I view this player not only as an option, as a weapon for the New Orleans Saints offense, but also a really good red zone threat that could be very useful for the New Orleans Saints. And I keep saying this. The Saints have a specific need at wide receiver. They don't just need a wide receiver. They need a specific type of wide receiver. No player in the wide receiver group for New Orleans is above 6'2". The Saints need to add some size. They need to add some girth. They need to add some strength, and they have speed. They have elusiveness. They have the downfield ability. They need somebody to operate over the middle, underneath, and as an X receiver that can be a dominant force to just honestly take some of the pressure off of Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed and all the other guys. But Field Yates, I want to go to what he had to say here about Jayden Higgins. The Saints need a receiver who brings more size and speed to the table than their current core. That's exactly what I'm saying. So shout out to Field Yates for actually knowing this one. Jayden Higgins has plenty of both in terms of size and speed. He's 6'4", ran a 4.47 in the 40-yard dash at the combine. Traits that helped him to 1,183 yards and 9 scores last season. Look, I think that this would be an awesome selection. Jayden Higgins is a really good athlete. He's a really good football player. And to be honest, I think that the Saints should definitely consider a player like him, Jack Besh, Savion Williams, Tet McMillan. I'm missing a couple. I know I'm missing one. I know one that's really Trey Harris. Trey Harris, Ole Miss wide receiver, Louisiana native. That's the one I was missing. There's a lot of good options out there at this big body wide receiver type, but I definitely think Jayden Higgins is one of my top options. He's up there for me with Tet McMillan as the top option for a big-bodied wide receiver, and I would love this selection. So shout out to Field Yates for getting that one right after absolutely dropping the ball in round 1. Really quick, trade alert, wee woo. The Saints, they traded back in to the second round. They made a pick at 40, but now they're making a pick at 61. And what they had to give up was a 2025 third-round pick at number 71 overall, and then they had to give up a fourth-round pick, number 112 overall. In this article, Field Yates said it was a fifth-round pick. The Saints don't own a fifth-round pick. Number 112 overall is a fourth-round selection. So hope you guys know that. The Saints do have 2 third-round picks, 2 fourth-round picks, so you would still have the ability to make a selection in both of those rounds here. So I want to ask you this question. Would you do this trade to get an extra second-round pick this year and only have 1 third and 1 fourth this year? Let me know what you think. Accept or decline. Just type the letter down below in the comment section. And without further ado, we're going to tell you what that pick was at round 2, number 61 overall. Yeah. Will Howard. I got really excited when I saw the Saints trade. I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is some fun. And then I saw we're taking Will Howard in round 2. Yep. That's what we're doing. So Field Yates. It's just like the opposite of a compliment sandwich. It's honestly a reverse backhand sandwich. A terrible pick, great pick, terrible pick. That's just my opinion here. But again, Field Yates gets the opportunity to defend himself here. Derek Carr's contract restructure means he will stick in New Orleans for at least one more season, but nothing is guaranteed beyond that. Spencer Rattler flashed in his rookie season, but he's no sure thing as a 2024 fifth-round pick. Will Howard, however, is accurate and mobile. He threw 35 touchdown passes last season and even ran for seven more touchdowns on the ground. And initial reaction, you guys probably got it. I hate it. Don't like this pick. Will Howard in round 2 is just so damn early. And it's not that I dislike Will Howard as a football player. If you want to make him a day 3 pick, fine, whatever. But don't trade up into round 2 to go and get Will Howard. Are you effing kidding me, Field Yates? That is ridiculous. I agree. The Saints do have a need at quarterback. Like beyond this season, where there's no plan in place for the future at the most important position in football for New Orleans. But trading up for Will Howard might be the most despicable, horrible usage of draft capital I've ever seen. That's just way too early. You can get him in the 3rd or 4th round. You don't have to wait or trade up into round 2 to go get Will Howard. That's just, if you like Will Howard, it's fine. I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm just going to argue that at round 2, trading up for it, not worth the selection. But let's go to the draft profile for Will Howard. He is a player who does have some good size, and he does have mobility, and he can use his legs. He had 105 carries for 226 yards and 7 touchdowns last season for the Buckeyes. In terms of being able to avoid sacks, he is actually pretty good at that, and he does have a lot of experience with a handful of seasons at Kansas State and then obviously the national championship season with Ohio State this past year. However, he did fumble 7 times last year. He only lost 1 of them, which is actually extremely lucky and very remarkable in that regard. He was really prone to turnovers and throwing interceptions and losing the ball 7 times on the ground, or fumbled the ball 7 times and only lost it once. And on top of that, he got bailed out a lot because of how good the supporting cast around him was at Ohio State. So, I don't think that he's a bad football player. Over 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, and a completion percentage of over 73% is really good. However, I'm still not okay with trading up to round 2 to go and get him. Like I said, though, the Saints do need a quarterback for the future. I think Spencer Rattler does have an opportunity to be that guy, and I think that he should get an opportunity to be that guy. Kellen Moore even saying that he thinks he's a great football player and that he expects a lot of big things in the second offseason for Rattler, so we'll have to see what happens. And I'll just say this. I was talking with some of the guys here at the office. I mean, worst case scenario, Derek Carr's quarterback this year. Next year, it's Spencer Rattler. And then what? You have a top 4 pick? Top 5 pick? If it's absolutely terrible? I mean, that's doesn't sound, Moose, I don't think that sounds all that bad. You don't have to spend capital, don't have to spend money on a quarterback. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. And if it doesn't, guess what? Arch Manning is waiting. Now, before we hop on out of here, I gave you my thoughts. Clearly not a fan. What do y'all think about this mock draft? I'm going to go with the C. The only reason it's not lower is because I really like the Jayden Higgins selection. Hate this pick. Really don't like this selection. But I like the Jayden Higgins pick. Grade the mock draft down below in the comment section. And Saints fans, y'all stay golden. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.